Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Today is Wednesday. It is the 17th day of April. Today is National Bat Appreciation Day, so appreciate your bats out there, people. Also, National Ellis Island Family History Day, National Haiku Poetry Day, and Heidi's favorite, National Cheese Ball Day. You like cheese balls?
Yeah, I think that's a different cheese ball. I think they're talking, because it doesn't say cheese balls. It says cheese ball. I think it is the cheese ball that you dip crackers in. I think it's that day that we're supposed to be celebrating.
Well, she likes the fried cheese balls.
I do.
The deep fried cheese balls. So that's a different thing then?
Yeah.
Well.
I think it's like the thing that
Oh, yeah.
our
My
family has
grandma
at
always
Christmas and they're
brings, right?
rolled in nuts. And, yeah.
Those are okay, but not as good as fried cheese balls. Those are good. Those are real good. Hey, coming up later in the program, I'm going to be visiting with Kathy Kleiner. Now, if you don't know who that is, listen up. She's Ted Bundy's living victim. He tried to kill her in 1978 when she was asleep in a sorority house. She's lucky to be alive, and we're very fortunate to visit with her. Kind of crazy that they're almost glorifying the guy, but we're going to be chatting with Kathy Kleiner on today's program.
The inventor of Rip It gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A new study found that men with long beards carry more deadly bacteria than the average dog. That's kind of gross. So if you got a big old bushy beard, keep that thing clean, apparently, because it sounds like that's a problem.
Okay.
So men with long beards carry more deadly bacteria than the average dog.
Oh, they're disgusting.
Well, it's not your cup of tea, but some people, you can find a whole cup of tea in there, I believe. So. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Credit cards, they can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out BetterCreditCards.net. They'll help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's BetterCreditCards.net. And this is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. A Pennsylvania woman tried to swallow the evidence when the police pulled her over. It says here 29-year-old Tiffany Root was stopped by the police, and she tried to destroy the evidence, 7 bags of heroin, by chewing and eating it. That's a bad idea.
Yuck.
It says here they made her spit them out. They found 15 Suboxone pills. I don't know what that is. Also 70 other pills without prescriptions, as well as $907 in cash, 2 boxes of glassine bags, an electronic scale, multiple dime-sized bags, and a cut straw. She was charged with 7 counts of possession of controlled substances with the intent to deliver. Also, possession of drug paraphernalia, tampering with physical evidence, and driving without a valid driver's license. So all of that stuff is not a good way to start your weekend, apparently.
Not at all a good way.
Not good at all. That is what happens, though, when your brain is on drugs. Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt finalized their divorce last week. They are now
I didn't even know that was still going on.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
It was dragging on for a while. So now they are officially separated, Heidi. So Brad Pitt is finally available. So Angelina Jolie is now finally available. Is that going to make any difference in your life?
No, not even a little.
I just wanted to check. City of Chicago. This is interesting, and I guess this was in the news last week, but I didn't know it because Heidi was saying, old news. I didn't know this. The City of Chicago filed a lawsuit against actor Jussie Smollett. This happened last week to cover the costs associated with all the investigation of the hate crime that he allegedly staged. The Empire actor was, it says here, the charges were dismissed by prosecutors more than 2 weeks ago. The 36-year-old refused the city's demand for $130,000 in police overtime costs to investigate his claims. So there you go. Now they're filing a lawsuit against him. Crazy stuff. Thanks for listening to Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. How often do we speak about sports on this program, Heidi?
More than we should.
Yeah, well, we don't really talk sports very often. Why is that?
Because we know nothing about sports.
We don't know nothing about sports, correct. But I do have a sports story. You know why?
Why?
It's pretty spectacular.
Okay.
Orioles first baseman Chris Davis hit a home run on Saturday, and it ended his record-breaking, you ready for this? 0-54 hitless streak. So 54 times at bat, 0 times did he hit it finally, and then or 0 times did he hit it, and then he finally broke that with a home run. That's pretty cool.
Is that impressive? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because
when you started this conversation, my fat butt thought you said Oreos, and I was a little excited.
No,
and then
Orioles. It's a baseball team, Heidi. I'm so sorry. No. Chris Davis apparently was having a little bit of a slump.
Okay.
54 times at bat that he didn't hit. And now, I think the reason that he hit a home run, I didn't watch the game, so I'm not sure, but I think everybody saw him all the other players saw him going up to the plate to hit, and they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I could actually go out and wash my car while I'm waiting for this one. He could have bunted it to get the home run. I have no clue. All I know is it's a big deal in the sports world, and we're going to get back to not caring about sports now. And it's not that we don't care about sports. We just don't know about
anything,
sports.
And we sound like this when we try to talk about sports.
I hope I got some of that right. The world's largest airplane is a thing called the Strato launch. It flew for the first time ever on Saturday, clocking in a 2.5-hour test flight in the Mojave Desert. The wingspan is like the length of a football field.
Okay.
So it's a ginormous, humongous, big old monster of a plane.
All right.
And they finally took the thing up for a test flight. And it sounds like everything went okay. A video has gone viral. A motorcycle rider in India got knocked off a motorcycle by a wild bull.
Yikes.
Can you imagine that? It says here, India has over 5 million wild cows and bulls roaming the countryside.
Holy cow.
So apparently, yeah. A whole lot of cows. So there's cows all over.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I did. I guess they got cows just roaming all over the place. This guy was driving a motorcycle, and a bull just, charged him and knocked him off his motorcycle. I've got a link to the video if you want to see it. It's an interesting video. But that does not sound like a very fun way to get knocked off. Well, I don't think there is a fun way to get knocked off a motorcycle.
Probably
Is there
not.
a fun way?
Probably not.
A clown did it. Knocked me into a ball pit. No, that might be fun, but I don't think there is a fun way. I just saw a video of this little apparatus that they came up with. It was an animation, not a great one at that, but it was an animation of this life vest thing that you would wear while you're riding a motorcycle. So if you get in an accident, your entire body would turn into like a giant airbag. That seems more dangerous than practical. What if you hit a bump and this thing goes off and launches you off your motorcycle?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but if this guy had one, maybe he would have been a little bit better off. Got knocked off his motorcycle by a wild bull. Hundreds of people were evacuated from downtown Berlin at the very tail end of last week because a World War II era bomb was found in Berlin.
Oh my gosh.
So it's probably been sitting there since the 1940s, but they were doing some stuff and they're like, guys, can somebody come and check on this? I don't think it's a water heater. Pretty sure that's a bomb. So
Yikes.
They were able to get it all taken out of there safely, but boy, that could have been scary. And then our final story here, sad news. For those of you who read the celebrity gossip stuff, celebrity gossip Richard King Johnson is retiring from the New York Post after 41 years. Or so I've been told.
Yeah, this means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
You're not
either.
a gossip person? Okay, we'll move on.
I wouldn't say I don't gossip, but
Not that kind of gossip.
I don't read his. I don't know who he is.
Well, Heidi's very sad.
Happy retirement.
Heidi is speechless. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today, our guest is Kathy Kleiner. She's got the distinction of being Ted Bundy's only living victim. He tried to kill her in 1978 in her sorority house. We've got her on the line right now. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. We're excited to visit with you. You're actually pretty darn fortunate to even be here to tell this tale, aren't you?
Yes, I am, thank goodness.
Well, there's another recent movie, this time on Netflix, and it's just sad to me. It seems like they're almost glorifying Ted Bundy, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. However, that's what Bundy showed. He was someone that was always in control of himself and his surroundings. So by being glorified at this point, that is what Bundy wanted people to see. So when the actors play him, they play it up as a pretty boy and a good boy. I remember Bundy actually saved a little boy at one point, and that really just built up his ego. So when the story is told, everything is exaggerated for him as he was wanting to be seen as.
Kathy, there are some family members of victims that don't really like this glorification. Now, you are a victim. How does that make you feel?
I feel so sorry for the families of the beautiful women that were attacked. They had dreams and lives and things they wanted to do, and Bundy attacked them and killed them. And their families now have to live with that by missing their loved ones, their women. And I was so fortunate to be able to live through that and to tell my story that I hope I can help people understand that by being attacked, that's not the end of life. You have to be able to move forward. And that's the way I've lived my life and continue to do it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us about this. I know it's a really difficult subject, but I've also been told you're working on a book from your perspective. I think that's a great idea.
Yes, it is. I have been asked to talk about things and to tell how I felt. I have had other incidents in my life that has helped me grow stronger, as well as I think Bundy. This whole episode in my life let me know that I was not someone that would sit in a corner and feel sorry for myself, that I was going to move on, both mentally and physically, move on with my life.
Now, I believe the most recent movie is the one from Netflix, and Zac Efron is the one portraying Ted Bundy. I've always been such a big fan of Zac Efron, and I understand he's just an actor. This is just a role. But how does it make you feel when you see somebody as, charming and handsome as Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy? Do you think that was the right choice, or how does that make you feel?
I do. I think that, like you said, he's an actor. He looked like Ted Bundy. They allowed him to take the part and to be Ted Bundy during that time, but he was an actor, and Ted was not. So his story, Bundy's story, is how he wanted it to be portrayed. He was very domineering and very in control of what people saw about him. So as far as being an actor playing him, I remember years ago, Mark Harmon played him in another movie. And for the longest time, every time I saw Mark in another series or another show, all I could see was Bundy.
Yeah.
So that has erased it from my memory now. And I guess I'll go through the same thing in this movie. But as far as an actor goes, playing a part, he looks like Bundy. I think that's good if it gets the story out.
Our guest today is Kathy Kleiner, Ted Bundy's living victim. Now, do you watch these movies, or do you try to avoid this?
I have followed it as it was happening on television or the movies. I read every book I could find. I have some of them now. I found that reading and understanding him as a person, it helped me know that he wasn't just a black figure that I saw that night. He had demons. He was a terribly sick person, but he was not mysterious to me anymore after I read about him. So I found that helped me to heal.
Kathy, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us. And I know you're working on a book right now. From your perspective, do you expect that like in the next year, or when is that going to be?
Hopefully. It's a long process.
Yeah.
And I hope to have it out by next year.
Well, when it comes out, if you've got the time to chat, I would love to visit with you again.
I hope you invite me, and y'all have a good day.
You too. Again, our guest today has been Kathy Kleiner. She's Ted Bundy's living victim. I've got a link to more information about Kathy in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
The inventor of Rip It gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Abraham Lincoln invented a device for lifting riverboats over shallow water. So he's the only president to actually have a patent. And he got that patent before he was president, of course. Now, Thomas Jefferson invented a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, if you're sitting in an office chair right now, if you can swivel back and forth, you're welcome, Thomas Jefferson. No, thank you, Thomas Jefferson.
I was going to say.
Thank you, Thomas Jefferson. I knew I had something wrong in there. But he invented the swivel chair.
You're welcome, Thomas Jefferson.
You're welcome. Because of Thomas Jefferson. I don't know what I meant. We're going to move on. This has been today's fun fact right here on the John and Heidi Show. Credit cards, they can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out bettercreditcards.net. They'll help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's bettercreditcards.net. Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. You ready for this one, Heidi?
I am ready.
Okay, the heat is on. Yesterday you got, what was it? 1/10 of a point.
1/10 of a point, yeah.
Microphobia. Microphobia. What do you think that is a fear
Fear
of?
of tiny things.
Yes, a fear of small things. You got it right. Yesterday it was a fear of big things. It was macrophobia. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Or was it? No, it was megaphobia.
Megaphobia, but why would you have done two very similar things?
Because I'm
back-to-back?
trying to help you.
You don't need to help me.
Oh, you need all the help I can give you. There's people that have asked me, why do you keep playing this game? Heidi is so terrible at this game. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Really?
Isn't it awesome?
Really?
No.
You have people saying that to you.
They're the John Small fan club. We have a Facebook group. It's me and two
Your
other
mom.
accounts that I created. They're also both me. Thanks for listening to Now Fear This. It's been fun with phobias.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. A Fort Smith mother is demanding an apology after 2 people threw food at her daughter while she was at work. This is just a bizarre story. Gwen Grice says that she picked her daughter up from work and she heard some upsetting news. A customer came through and threw a bag of food at her daughter. And she said, I brushed it off because my daughter brushed it off. But later, her son showed her a video online that made her take action. He shows me a video, and she said it made me completely irate because not only did somebody throw food through the window at my daughter, but they hit her with this food. So she, the mother, filed a police report with the Fort Smith Police Department. They say that the police report refers to the people in the car as 2 boys, and the boy in the driver's seat was the one that threw the food at the girl and then said something vulgar. So there's an open investigation. This is a sad story because
That's a very sad story.
These kids were probably doing this trying to, make a funny video. But here's the thing. You were throwing food at another human person.
Yep.
That's not nice.
Oh, if that would have been my kid, I would have done the same thing. I would have freaked out.
I know you would have because I know you, Heidi.
Oh, yeah. It would have been ugly.
Would have been a bad Bad deal. That's today's weird news. I've got a link to that story in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. When you gotta go, you gotta go. And sometimes you keep on going. A woman with a full bladder gave new meaning to that expression when she apparently asked some Philadelphia city workers if she could urinate between their two parked work trucks.
Oh.
But then she jumped in one of them and drove away.
Oh.
33-year-old Amanda Bonner approached some street workers, street department workers. Sounds a lot worse. Some street department workers. Police say that she had the dilemma, hey, I need to use it. Can you guys let me do this? So they thought, you know what, that's fine, whatever. But then, at least one of the city-owned trucks was unoccupied with the engine running, and that's when she jumped in and drove away. I'm not sure why she would do that. The shocked employees gave chase, one on foot, one in the other vehicle. They caught up with her in the stolen vehicle at a red light. By that time, police had also arrived, and she was taken into custody. So, not a good plan. Very bad idea. That's why it's today's moment of duh.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these three things. Heidi, tell me, what do these three things have in common? 2 little feet, an alligator, and a polo player. What do those things have in common? Think about where you might see those things. 2 little feet, an alligator, and a polo player.
Where you might see those things.
Somewhere in this vicinity, right about here. Or maybe over here.
Oh, it's like a lapel logo.
Yes, they're little logos you'll find on shirts. They're different brands. I couldn't tell you any of them for sure, other than I think one brand is called Polo, Ralph Lauren. Is that right? And then is the other one Lacrosse, or what
Lacoste.
is that? Lacoste. And who has the 2 little feet? I've seen them before.
I don't know.
But they're logos on shirts if you work for the company with the 2 little feet. I'm sorry that I can't say the name. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Thanks
either.
for listening to the John and Heidi Show with these 3 things.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of radiotravelgroup.com. Take a listen to this story. It's a happy and sad story all together. Sometimes that's how these work out, isn't it?
Yeah, well, sometimes, yeah.
So a mailman receives a heartwarming note from a family that owns a dog. A Twitter user in Texas posted photos of a note that her mailman father received from one of the homes on the route that he would walk each day. It says, my dad is a mailman, and he likes to give dogs on his route treats. Some say route, some say route. How do you say it? Route or route?
Route.
Route. I'm going to say route then. I never know how I even say it. Somebody asked me that. How do you say it? Route or route? I'm like, I don't know.
I think it depends
both?
on what sentence I'm using, because I think I use both.
Okay.
But in this situation, I would say route.
Okay, so on his route, he got this note. It says, today he told us one of the dogs on his route passed away, and the owner of the dog gave all of their treats to him with this little note. It says, Gretchen passed away yesterday. She asked me to ask you if you would share her treats that she never got to finish with the other dogs on your route. She always enjoyed seeing you come to the door and was always happy to get a snack from you. Thank you. And it's got the family name on here. So it was really, really sad that the dog passed away. But what a great idea. The treats, these little milk bones that were, instead of getting tossed in the trash, They gave them to the mailman because he would give treats to, all kinds of other dogs on the route.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, and there's a photo here even of
the dog waiting for him to come to the door. Oh.
So I think that's really cool. And I know some people who are that work in the delivery business, and I actually have a sister who is I was going to say mailman. What is the proper term these days?
Mail carrier.
Postal carrier. Is that what it is? Mail carrier, postal carrier?
I would say mail
letter carrier, I think is what they call it.
Okay.
I don't know.
It really doesn't matter.
It does matter. I want to get it right. But I think that's really cool that this person did this for this gentleman. So I've got a link to the story. It's a neat story. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
These kind of things really are tough for me because we have two little ones.
We do. They're getting old.
Yeah, that won't be with us a whole lot longer, unfortunately. And so these little stories just break my heart.
Well, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.